7:42 on the East Coast. Now to an NBC News exclusive. U.S. officials have long warned that China is stealing technology and poaching talent from the United States. And now a new report says for decades, scientists conducting U.S. government-funded research at America's foremost national security laboratory have been recruited by China, and that some of them have helped that country develop more sophisticated weapons. Let's bring in NBC News justice and intelligence correspondent Ken Delaney. And Ken, good morning. What more can you tell us here?
Good morning, Willie. Look, U.S. intelligence officials have been warning for a long time that the Chinese government is doing everything it can to buy, steal, or otherwise obtain American technology. Now we've obtained a private intelligence report that's offering new insights into one way that has been happening, showing how China for decades has been poaching scientists from America's foremost national lab. Here's more. Shocking new details about how American taxpayers may have unwittingly helped China's military become more of a threat to the United States. A new private intelligence report obtained exclusively by NBC News shows that more than 150 scientists who worked on taxpayer-funded projects at Los Alamos National Laboratory in the last 2 decades are now conducting sensitive research in China, some of it with military applications. Hypersonic missiles, deep earth penetrating warheads, quiet submarines. The report says Los Alamos veterans helped China's military advance those and other cutting-edge technologies, supercharging China's threat to U.S. national security. Chinese scientists who worked on research funded by American taxpayers are now working to try to make China's military more lethal.
Yeah, not only are they working on trying to do that, I think the evidence suggests that they've successfully done it.
Greg Levesque founded Strider Technologies, a private intelligence firm that vacuums up public information, open source in spy lingo, from the internet. Strider found that 80% of the Los Alamos scientists who moved to China were recruited into so-called talent programs, a concerted effort by China to pay Chinese-born scientists to come home. The report says many of them got nearly $1 million. This 2019 U.S. Senate report said China's Thousand Talents program and similar arrangements were a way for China to exploit American research for its own gain.
This is not a couple of rogue actors deciding to put stuff in their bags and head back to China. This is a concerted effort by a nation state to identify, target, and recruit overseas scientists back to their country.
In 2019, a Los Alamos scientist pleaded guilty to lying about participating in a Chinese talent program. But it's not illegal for a scientist working at an American government lab to take their expertise to China. American officials also point out that most Chinese scientists who emigrate to the United States remain here, and many have made important contributions to national security. Bill Evanina, who worked as the top counterintelligence official in the U.S. government, says he's seen plenty of classified reports documenting the problem.
However, this is the first time we have a comprehensive open source reporting that identifies the people, the places, the services, and the organizations in China who are benefiting from that talent who once worked here in our national labs.
Los Alamos, where American scientists created the atomic bomb, is devoted to science and engineering in support of U.S. national security. But much of the research conducted there is unclassified, and many foreign scientists work at the lab. Strider found that so many scientists left Los Alamos for jobs in China, they began calling themselves the Los Alamos Club. The Department of Energy, which oversees Los Alamos, said in a statement that international collaboration is critical to its efforts and that it works hard to protect critical defense technology. Officials declined to answer specific questions about the report. The Chinese embassy in Washington, meanwhile, did not respond to a request for comment.
This report shows the kind of patient work along multiple vectors that China has engaged in for decades to get this kind of information.
The report spotlights Zhao Yusheng, saying he received nearly $20 million in U.S. taxpayer grants during an 18-year career at Los Alamos. He held a top-secret Q clearance and led a defense project developing bombs that can penetrate deep underground. In 2016, Strider found, Zhao joined a talent program and left the United States for a job at a research center in China. But before that, the report says, he hired another Chinese scientist at Los Alamos who worked with him on the bomb research. The report says that scientist filed a patent in China in 2007 for an ultra-thick penetrating warhead. Zhao is now a vice president at China's Southern University of Science and Technology, known as SUSTEC, which conducts defense research. He did not respond to our request for comment. Strider found that 15 Los Alamos veterans work at Sustec, including the president, Chen Shiyi. The report says he made major contributions to China's hypersonic missile program. He did not respond to emails from NBC News.
No one can say this is not a national security issue, because that from hypersonics to acoustical capabilities and to warheads, we are perpetrating the ability for adversaries to utilize weapons against us. And that is hard for any American to swallow.
A scientific brain drain that is making one of America's most dangerous adversaries more powerful.
And you may wonder what U.S. intelligence officials are doing about this, Willie, and the answer is not enough, according to those paying close attention. As I was working on this story yesterday, the Senate Intelligence Committee released a report saying that the U.S. government's counterintelligence enterprise was not well positioned to stop China and other foreign governments from stealing American research and technology.
And so, Ken, as you point out, this is not exactly news to a lot of people who work in Washington. A couple of years ago, there was a bipartisan Senate report that looked at this program from China about the exploitation of American research and it being taken back to China. So what does law enforcement, what does the FBI, what does the Intelligence Committee propose to do about it?
You know, you're absolutely right, Willie. The U.S. has known about these talent recruitment programs for years, yet it wasn't until 2019 that the Energy Department, which runs Los Alamos, banned its employees and contractors from participating in them. This is a hard problem because most of the research at places like Los Alamos is unclassified, and the U.S. does benefit from opening its doors to foreign scientists. But it's becoming more and more clear that there are significant costs to doing that as well, Willie.
Ken, in watching and listening to your report just now, I couldn't help but think about a conversation I had with an assistant director of the FBI, Jim Kallstrom, 25 years ago, in which he pointed out that he thought that this issue that you're just reporting on again was one of the most critical issues that this country faced in terms of national security. So do we have any idea of how we address this long-term conundrum? How do we address this?
You know, people in academia and these research institutions are grappling with that right now, Mike. Rob Daley, who you saw in the piece there, who's a Mandarin speaker at the Wilson Center and a longtime advocate of open relations with China, he told me that he thinks maybe it's time for places like Los Alamos to stop hosting, for example, visiting delegations of Chinese postdocs, which is a pretty radical thing for a guy like that to propose. He thinks there really needs to be a reappraisal of this open relationship that academia and research institutions have had with Chinese scholars, because in so many cases, not all cases, and often the U.S. benefits from this open relationship, but there's also a cost. They're going back to China. They're taking with them insights that they've learned here in the United States at a place like Los Alamos, which is devoted to national security research. This isn't Harvard. This is the place where nuclear weapons were invented. So people are really having a hard think about what we do about this. There are no easy answers, though, guys.
Such a fascinating, enlightening report. NBC News Justice and Intelligence correspondent Ken Delanian, thanks for bringing it to us, Ken. Good to see you.